Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Flying Circus, where today we are going to talk about Anthem, and we're going to see what's up with that. Now, I know that the title of this video is not actually focusing on the positive side because, well, there are not too many, but before we go on with that, I just want to make something clear. Taking this game on some separate aspects of itself, it actually comes up to be good in some way because it's a looter shooter where the shooter part of the gameplay is actually good and is really entertaining, but the looter part is the place where actually EA kind of screwed up. Thinking more than that, the verticality that this game brings to the gaming scene is basically amazing simply because it has a lot of resemblance to an Iron Man flying simulator. That's why everybody that played this game actually tries to compare with a real game where you can take control of Iron Man and fly around the place. The mechanics of this are really complicated and they come up to be really well. This is really an entertaining part and it functions very well inside this game. But the problem is it's just that. Nothing more other than this. And that is the main problem of it all because games should be first of all fun. But when the fun just goes out the window so quick, then the game becomes a bad game. And the problem with Anthem is that the bad aspects do not stop at that point, mainly because they are many, and they come right at you. The main problem that I think Anthem has is the loading screens because it spends a lot of time pushing the loading screens up right into your face and makes you wait for a long period of time. If you take a mission, play it from top to bottom, you manage to record that, and you separate the loading screen and the actual gameplay, you can see that the loading screen time is bigger than the actual gameplay that you're gonna play, which is basically bad because most of the time you spend waiting instead of playing the game. Another problem that we can talk about is actually the expectation that was created from the disappointment of Mass Effect Andromeda, because BioWare can do much more than that. But yes, indeed, Mass Effect Andromeda was kind of disappointing thinking about the trilogy that was before. Now, Anthem was really regarded as kind of the savior of BioWare in the sense of the way that the reputation of Mass Effect kind of went down the tubes and they needed something to just bring it all back. And that is the point where Anthem kind of steps into the scene. But the problem is, if you think in comparison, this game is far worse than Mass Effect Andromeda. So there's basically no way that this game, with the reputation that it has right now, can actually save a game that is better than this. More to this problem is that, right here, we are talking about BioWare, the masters of storytelling. Even though they might have some shortcomings here and there, they put probably the best stories in-game out there. But if you take a look at the story that Anthem puts out there, it is basic, it's cliche, and it's forgettable. Simply because if you ask me right now, what the hell is this about, I cannot actually tell you. It's about something. Simply because it has a story, but it's nothing that is worth remembering. And the fault in all of this is, of course, EA, simply because they were trying so much to mimic the success of Destiny that they wanted to have a game that is basically a copy of Destiny without being actually Destiny. And with this mentality, what they actually did is, in fact, force BioWare, the developing studio that has a lot of potential, into creating this shortcoming of a game. Going more in depth and this time more on a personal level, I remember there was a time where I was playing a lot of video games and they were lots and lots of fun. Now, because there are a lot of things that happen in life. Well, thing is, sometimes you just don't have the time and you don't have the resources. And the story here is that for the past few years, I wasn't so invested in the world of video game. I was basically standing on the side. I tried and tried to just get back in the game, but the problem is didn't have what it takes. No time, no resources, basically no nothing. And I found myself sitting on the side, and that is a problem because some of the mojo kinda loses its importance over time. But even in that situation, I still got hyped for a lot of games. A lot of games. But this Anthem, this was not the case. Even if I just heard the fact that this was about to be the savior of Mass Effect, well, it had every single thing related to the existence of the game that just promised so much It could have made me hyped to the sky and moon and stars and back, but it just didn't. And the main problem with this aspect is that if you ask me, I cannot give you a straight answer simply because I don't know why. It was just something based on a feeling. Now, when this first actually was announced and I've seen what this is about, it had some promising aspects, but it didn't get me hooked on it whatsoever. And from a personal point of view, this is a big problem because for me, it doesn't matter if I don't have the time to play the game or I don't have the resources to play the game. It doesn't matter. I'm all hyped for it. I am just sold on the idea. But here, like I said, it was nothing. And thinking about it, when something like this happens with the game of this caliber, well, something must be up. Simply because it has a lot of things that are promising and should make you hyped up, but it just doesn't do the job. So, yeah, everything for me was kind of idle because Anthem didn't actually present it to me anything that made me give any slight interest in the existence of the game. Furthermore, EA screwed up one more time with this simply because they had a weird scheduling for the launch, because they have to push so much product that can bring them a lot of money into their pockets that is just going crazier and crazier by the day. And this is something that is going to hurt the game simply because before the launch of the said game, they released a very weird table where you could see how can you play this game, in which version you could actually do what. You could buy this game, you could buy the specific version, and you could play it before anyone else. You could play it for 10 hours before anyone else. You could play it before the guys that actually pre-ordered through a certain service. The thing is, I'm just blabbering here, but that is the problem. I have absolutely no idea what that was about, and it was confusing as hell. So confusing that basically you had absolutely no idea when you could play the game unless you could take a look on your main origin page and see when the play button is actually active. But besides all the things that are wrong with Anthem, there is one more thing that is wrong, and it has absolutely nothing to do with this game whatsoever. And here, I'm talking about the launch of Apex Legends, and the fact that EA screwed up, but in them screwing up, they actually brought something to us that is really, really fun, engaging, and entertaining. I'm not gonna go into many details, but Apex Legends is actually a great game, and I enjoy the hell out of it. Should have been kind of for free, but that didn't happen. So the developers, Respawn Entertainment, actually created a free-for-all game, that being Apex Legends, a game that came out the day it was announced. Absolutely nobody knew what the hell was going on, and this game came out under the radar. It just slipped under the radar, unnoticed. And even so, it just took everyone by storm. It just conquered the market every single where that the game went. And what this game also did was competing against Anthem, giving everyone a choice between having a great gaming experience for free or having to grind your way through a boring game and sit your ass on a chair while a loading screen just going to burn your monitor down for $60 at least. So, in conclusion, this is basically the perfect way to just demonstrate the state of the gaming world today. And what is important about everything that happened with Apex, with Anthem, and the state of Anthem is that EA needs to see this. EA needs to understand what is going on and needs to cool it off. See what they have on their hands and give the freedom to developers, especially BioWare. And this is not like it's out of the question. They did it with Apex. They let Respawn do their job. They were radio silent, and when the game was out, it was free and it got a great liftoff. And just knowing that there are more and more things to come to Apex, it just begs the question, why not go for Apex instead of Anthem? As I said, this really should be a lesson for EA until it's not too late and we will see a great developing studio go out of business just for the sake of some extra money in EA's pockets. With that being said, until next time, Flynn here, over and out.